And we're back. Another great episode of the Savroy Brooklyn podcast. It's your boy, Patagonia Lattes. You're going to catch me all summer with a good Bonobos Polo and a Cortado or a latte. I'm here with a special guest from U8N. Tell them who you are, man.
Surfing from UA. We met up in 2000 and maybe, I say...
6, 7, 8,
6,
one of those.
7.
One of those.
Yeah, we old.
And,
good times.
But it's going to be a great episode, man. We're going to talk about a lot of, dope things. It's a cool brother, man. Stayed solid over the years, man. Recently reconnected. So we're going to just get right into it, man. So first, U8N, right? Like, I remember getting there and a certain school came through and transferred in waves. Moville. Y'all came through.
Big time.
Big time heavy, man. Talk about Moville and what got you to Albany way back when from Moville, man.
Man, I got to Moville. I didn't even want to stay. I just seen nothing but farmland. I said, I'm doing all this farmland upstate. But what it was a change coming from the inner city, coming from Yonkers. It was a change. I needed to go somewhere and stay focused. I couldn't go somewhere that it was just live and lit all the time. And it ended up being live and lit. But I needed to stay focused, and that was a good place to do it. I think that Moville was just the start to a lot of friendships that I needed to make. So leaving Moville and going to Connecticut, I made a stop in Connecticut, played football there. Didn't stay there too long, made a stop to Albany, and that was it. And that was just that was great. The city's live, the networking that you can do within the school, the opportunities we had, especially as us, minorities coming up, we wouldn't have majority of those opportunities back in the city. It was just too much competition. But there we got to focus on what we needed to be and what we wanted to be. We made some positive groups, connections. We've made some social connections, and people are still friends to this day. I'm proud of all my brothers and sisters that made it out there, that did what they had to do. We impacting the community at a big rate. So shout out to you too. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you for having me today.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Yeah, now honestly, I follow a bunch of UA then content now on the gram, and they show Sneaky Pizza. They'll show Pine Hills Deli, or they'll show a bunch of different things, and you forget how fast you've left it. But it's also, that was the easiest time of my life. I probably had at any given time no more than $50 to $100 in my pocket, but I didn't care. I had a meal plan. I had
a meal plan.
I had a meal plan. I could get to and from campus for free with the Albany ID.
With the swipe.
And with the swipe, and somebody had a car, right?
Somebody had a car.
And we found ways to get liquor. We found ways to have fun. But it was one of the best times of my life for the same reason. I had to get out of Brooklyn, and I had to mature. So going up there, you asked earlier about that transition. When I first got there, I bumped my head because I'm up there and I'm from Brooklyn. Anybody from above the Bronx, y'all upstate in my mind, right? First person, the second person I met was Joe. Shout out to Joe, my done Joe, and his brothers Fidelis and Walt, and Ab. Shout out to Ab too.
Shout out to Ab. Shout out to Dell. Shout out to Bill Black.
Met all them dudes, and I'm like, wait, where's Yonkers at? Because obviously I heard of the Locks and all that, and Ab from Spring Valley, and I had no idea where any of that stuff was at. But I get cool with them. But then I meet people from the city of Albany. I meet people from Syracuse, Rochester, Niagara Falls. I'm like, yo, y'all sound funny. It's immediate smoke because people up there historically have had issues with people from the city because we go up there, get money, talk crazy, not knowing that we probably got the same relatives that all came from the South and went up there.
Definitely.
But shout out to The Rock. Shout out to all my guys from Rochester, Qstown, Yonkers, everywhere upstate, Western New York, Central New York. Because me going up there, my first month, I was in shit all the time with cats. and then I would talk to like Makisha, Chris Fernando, somebody. We would have a problem, and then we wound up in the same office talking to them. It's like, oh wait,
Yeah.
son is actually cool,
Yeah.
but it's just me being on some, yo, you sound funny, or why you talk like that, or you from middle of nowhere, right? Like, and then once I got over that phase, I came to actually respect people from other places upstate because even if they sound a little different, it's the same general energy. It's a hood everywhere, and there's love everywhere. If you travel and you lead with love, 9 times out of 10 you get love, right? The only place I would still say is just generally a little weird to me is like the Niagara Falls area because I done been up there and I went to Buffalo. This is like probably 2011. Shout out to Buffalo. Though. I got mad niggas in Buffalo. But 2011, a nigga was dressed like Son and Belly. That was I don't like that shit. A nigga was just like that. He had the
Belly.
Yeah, Son had the finger waves and the big glasses with a Sean John velour, no Diddy. And
Diddy.
this is like 2011. I'm like, yo, why are you wearing that? But they 7 hours from the city.
Different.
So different body and all that. So fast forward, you in Albany, you leave Albany, and you get into law enforcement. So what got you into the law enforcement field originally?
When I graduated back in 2010, I got a good gig. Fell into my lap, I should say. I was working at the New York State Assembly. Shout out to them. And I did that for about 2 years. And it's funny that you mentioned Buffalo because they sent me on a mission everywhere. Niagara Falls is one of the places I had to go.
Oh,
and
man.
That's when I was like, oh, they drinking Timmy's out here. What's Timmy's? That's their coffee. But shout out to them. And how I got into it was I always wanted to do something that was very, very, very important to our community coming up. And what's a better way affecting your community by getting into something that affects your community, which is criminal justice, as well as, the minority aspect of it. I never wanted to be just behind the desk. I always wanted to be active. So I ended up just getting into something like I just look at New York City. I look at Westchester County. I look at, Rockland County. I looked at federally. I said, wait a minute. I'm only going to really affect my community by actually being in the community, I feel like. So I took none but civil service exams. I just took them. And I passed them. They'd call me back 3-4 years later because, we coming from that recession time, too.
Yeah.
That's a hard time to get a job.
Facts.
So, when I got called, New York City called me up. I said, I just went with the flow, put everything in God's hands, and it ended up working out. It was definitely a different experience, but it was definitely something that I needed to get into because originally I wanted to be a guidance counselor. But in the education field, political, there was no jobs. The market was dry. The money was really no good to me in my mind. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to jump into something that I usually wouldn't talk about, even thinking about. But, over the years, I've grown a nice maturity of the understanding about the field and the minority aspect of it. And I just went and never looked back. Probably one of the best decisions I made career-wise, And I appreciate everything that came with it,
That's what's up. So you land at Rikers, right? What was it like walking into that kind of facility or that kind of environment? I'm sure you heard all types of crazy shit about it and all of that. What's it like the first time you go over that bridge and you go into work and report and like, oh shit, like this is really what I signed up for?
Yeah, to be a New York City CO, man, to have that title, you have to go through something. So when you go over that bridge and you realizing, wow, it's taking me more than 2-3 minutes to get over that bridge, and you just thinking about how your day might be, or what it might not be, it's a lot. If you let it get to you, um, it'll play really negatively. It's one of those things where you just have to just go out and do. You just gotta really just go out and do. And that first day, I never forget. It was on a midnight. I started on that midnight tour. That midnight tour, they tell you, man, listen, you want money, you're gonna be rich out here, cause by the time you leave out here, you're gonna clock in 16 hours or better. And that's just what happened. That whole week, I did nothing but 16 hours. Definitely humbled me up. Definitely humbled me up in terms of the hard work these people do and the hours that they put in and the years that they put in and the efforts that they put in. And I just found a lot of sisterhood and brotherhood there. Shout out to the Rock. Seriously. Can't forget where you come from. But it's definitely war zone. It's game time. As soon as you get there, if you think you're gonna go there and you're not gonna be on that type of time when you first get there, then you in for a rude awakening. It's really how you present yourself though. It's really respect out there. You give respect to get respect. But how things has been going, I haven't been there, so I don't know how things are now. But
But back then,
back then it was different. It was more of a respect thing. There was
so
more respect back then.
so in terms of respect, because like I know you personally, right? So you've always
Yeah,
carried yourself as somebody like you're not going to say a lot, but
yeah,
your energy is very much like you leave with respect, but you also expect it back, right?
yeah.
So, like, have you seen people not know how to navigate that as a CO, and they getting violated and they getting like disrespected by the inmates, and they say, you know what, I'm out of here. Listen, UPS is hiring. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to something else.
Yeah, I seen somebody really start the job in one day and leave the same day. I mean, that's just a regular. That was a regular. I done seen somebody come on post, some go down, they run. It's a regular. Those people don't make it. You know if it's in you. If it's in you, it's in you. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. I think the best thing to do is try something. If it not work for you after a while, then explore something else. But give it a chance. I think that's a big one. Um, There's no other way to say it. You gotta. It's not one of those things you could talk a dude into or a chick into. Hey, come do this. This is great. Nah, you have to really, honestly, do it. Put them boots on. Put them blues on and be ready to go. If you're not on that type of time, then UPS is hiring. I think maybe FedEx.
So, what would you say would be like a high and a low for you during your tenure as a CEO on Rikers?
Well, I mean, the time off, man. The benefits and the time off. That's what you do it for. I mean, if you're doing the things right and you getting your time in and you getting the time out, you know, value that time. It has good benefits for your family. It's long term stability. There's a lot of things that you can learn while you're there in terms of, the stock market and how things are allocated and future investments and opportunities you'll get. Even second chance opportunities, or not even just second chance opportunities, future opportunities, running for office, going back to school, practicing law, whatever you want to get into. There's a lot of avenues. So I think people need to just not shortchange themselves just because of the moment, and more or less so just take it as an opportunity for something further. I think that's very important. I think that's very important.
So, on that same point, like any low moment that you can remember where you was like, "Fuck, I get myself into," or like, "Nah, this shit ain't for me."
I said that every day for like about 5 years. I mean, I said that over and over. But then those low moments turn into high moments. So sometimes you gotta transfer that negative energy into positive energy in a negative environment. That's key, especially for people that look like us, especially if people of color, I should say, excuse me, especially people of color, because sometimes we come across individuals that look like us that have that educational level that we don't want to embrace. And I think I was that type of guy for a lot of those youths coming up that got caught up. You know, sometimes these guys express to me the simple things, not being able to grow up with their father, or be in the foster system, or just how the streets got caught up with them in it, or that they got caught up in the streets as per se. Like, I think it affects them, especially when they're listening to you and y'all connecting and you're trying to build on that respect level. Again, I say again, it's a big respect level. And I was able to do that. I was able to just have plain conversation, with guys about real life things, about becoming a father, about, investing, about trying to, even join a union, with a female. And I think that me coming up, that guidance was there, so why not give it,
Right.
to the next generation? Hopefully they come out, rehabilitate themselves, and do something better. So it was definitely, the lows became my highs. At first, the lows suck. The lows are just not it. The money that you make, and you like, wow, why am I doing this? I might as well go be, on the midnight doing the UPS grind. You would say that, but you got to stick it through. And the next thing you know, you at top pay. You provided for your family the way you couldn't. Purchasing a couple of properties, some future investments, putting your kids in some good situations. I appreciate it,
That's what's up. So, were you working with primarily adolescents, adults, women? What was the range or the population that you was in charge of?
Shout out to C74.
Full building, okay.
Definitely. I was with the adolescents and the young adults. Definitely was my energy. I was coming in young. It was like maybe I was 25, maybe. I was coming in young, and I needed that reciprocation, that energy flow. So that's where I started off at. In terms of females, I never knew what the female population was there. That was in my building. Shout out to Rosie's. But I don't know what that is. That flow was.
Okay.
So I can't talk on that. But
And what do you think of some of the misconceptions, positive and negative, about the job that you would want people to just understand? Like, if folks are watching this and they're like, I really want to do it, but I think I heard the same thing too. Like, they make mad money, and the folks I know who are CEOs now, they got the cars, the house, all that, but they all been there for like a decade, right? So, like, in terms of like any misconceptions that you can dispel and just put out there, I think that's important, because a lot of times on different platforms, CEOs go up there, inmates go up there, and they talk all about the slashings, or this person threw baby oil on boy, or he got extorted. We're not here for that, right? Like, there's a lot of places that talk all about all of that kind of stuff. But I think on a human level, I think it's important to just let people understand. It's like, yo, listen, like, my grandfather, rest his soul, he was one of the first captains on Rikers. Shit, he told me as a kid, had me scared to death to even jaywalk, right?
Yeah.
And when he retired, he was doing transport, like he was driving people to downstate. When downstate was still open.
Yeah.
But the shit he told me and my cousins that went to Rikers, the shit they told me, and then the shit COs told me, had me like, yo, even like the toughest guys on my block, when they went to Rikers, they like, yo, as soon as you walk out of intake, even if you like boom. I give you a perfect example. A dude I know was like, yo, he got on the rock and went through, like, he couldn't get a bail, whatever, or he couldn't make bail, whatever, got sent to the rock.
Yeah.
And go through intake, and he's like, yo, nice shoes, and niggas talking all this dumb shit. As soon as he get to his housing unit, he see cats he know right there, and like, yo, what's up? I can't, like, if you want to get on the phone or some shit like that, I got
Yeah,
you, but
yeah.
I can't defend you. I gotta see how you. I gotta see how you blend first.
Move.
I gotta see
Yeah.
how you do what you do before I automatically, jump in for you. So the first nigga, yo, nice sneakers, boom, 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 and it was some. He said it was some dude that looked like 1,000 niggas versus a gorilla. He said some giant nigga ran down to him for his sneakers, and my dude was a skinny dude.
Yeah.
And he ain't lie and say he beat son up, but he ain't lose his shit,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
after that he rocked out. So that's like the inmate side, right? But no CO I know has said it's sweet. Dudes I know have said that they've gotten into fights. Like a dude was fronting and they had to, you know, get handsy with the nigga because the nigga was trying to violate. Nah, fuck that, I'm not locking in.
Yeah.
Suck my dick, throwing franks, all types of other shit like that.
Yeah,
So right,
definitely.
so any kind of misconception you can dispel, I think that will be good. Because again, we're not trying to highlight, the violence and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of platforms that talk all about that.
Yeah.
I'm not really for that.
Yeah.
I ain't bring you here for that. You ain't here
Yeah.
for that either. But if there's any kind of misconception about, the time off, or you automatically getting forced to stay if you're whatever kind of
Stuck.
Yeah.
That's what they call that. Yeah.
any kind of thing like that, like any rumor that you've heard or any kind of misconception that you want to address, it should be a good time to do so.
I think a big misconception is that CEOs, they're always at work and they're not with their families and things like that. Another misconception could be just they think CEOs are drug dealers. They think they think the job is just a turning key. Like, and it's not just a turning key, because in certain areas, especially, right, because it's a big environment. We have, micro versus a macro environment. You got your micro environments, which is your little, I should say, municipalities that probably house no more than who knows what. I'll give you a number in terms of offices. A micro environment would be a department that's filled with like 800 people. Rikers is thousands of people. When I was there, it was I'd say about 8 to 10,000 officers.
Sheesh.
So when you have 8 to 10,000 officers, that means there's more positions than housing area positions. So the misconception is that the job is a turning key, but it's actually a big time sophisticated organization. You have your corporate, you have your headquarters, you have different, divisions, different units. So there was opportunities to learn as well as grow there, and it's where you wanted to be. You had SODs, you had transportation units, you had, the ranges, you had all type of stuff going on. So wherever you wanted to be, you could be. It's just like, shout out to NYPD too, but
the good ones, we ain't jacking all NYPD.
Ain't jacking NYPD,
yeah.
but shout out to the units that they have too. You get into the NY, you're gonna say, oh wow, they do more than just what we know. So it's a big, behind the scenes department going on with the city that people need to really realize that they have a lot. They have a photography unit, They have a photography unit. They have all type of things that you would least expect. So, get into it, do your research, and make it the best. Because I didn't know that. So I had all those misconceptions you talked about before I started the job. And a lot of them got proven wrong. you know, a lot of them got proven wrong.
So one that I don't know is wrong or right. You have to tell me, but y'all party OD because I didn't seen the flyers.
Shout out
I done
to
seen
the
the footage,
parties.
and I've even
Shout out to the
leaving the
parties.
vacation. I was flying with some COs
Yeah.
on the plane, and just coming back from like a vacation.
Yeah.
On an island, part of like a travel company. It's like, yeah,
Word.
most of us are COs. We travel a lot. I said, if y'all traveling, who watching the jail?
Nah. Yeah, they party hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. I went to the best parties when I was on the island. I met some good people there, man. Shout out to all the boroughs, you know, for real, because I met people from everywhere. But the parties is ridiculous, man. Like
I seen on
the
Instagram,
way
man.
work hard, they play hard. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I say it just like that.
Some bad COs too.
Steinways to
Stayemi.
to Mexico's to Jamaica. Man, I tell you what, I felt like it was post U Albany, bro.
Oh man.
I felt like it was post U Albany, bro. Like I never partied like I did, you know, after work. And then going back into work. So it was cool. It was definitely cool. It introduced balance. You know, you gotta have balance in life. So that was key. You can't just be working, you know, and not playing.
Some bad COs I seen in that footage too, man.
Oh man.
What was it like working with like baddies? I don't know. Like the other thing I heard too.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta dispel or confirm if you don't want to, but I'm hearing a lot of them get a lot of BBLs too.
Well, you know, nothing against
Nothing against the BBLs if you went to the
nothing
BBLs.
against the BBLs, you know, like shout out to the BBLs. Shout out to the BBLs, word. But yeah, you know, that's the thing, you know. That was the thing for a while. That was the I just got paid.
My tax money is going to BBLs.
I just got paid, so let me go and you know, do a little makeover. I mean, shout out to them. If that works for them, that works for them. But yeah, you got a lot going on. That's an investment. It's an investment. I don't know what to call it, but there's a lot of baddies. There was a lot of baddies. Every building, everywhere. I ain't never met the amount of baddies I've seen. You know, not basically in the city because I was primarily there the most of the time. UA definitely had baddies coming up. You know,
definitely had baddies.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Shout out to the UA Danes baddies. That is
the Great Danes, all the Great Danes, all the Great Danes baddies.
all the Great Danes baddies doing their thing now. All
Yeah.
right. Proud of you.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I stayed away from a lot of it though. You know,
Smart man.
word. I just stayed away from a lot of addict girl. You know, I was just respectful and just chilled and did what I had to do, you know. Stayed away
Upstanding
from
gentleman
that.
right here. Upstanding gentleman. You know what I mean? Upstanding gentleman. So the other thing I wanted to ask you is, as somebody that has, you know, been there with adolescents, you've probably seen a lot of prominent New York City guys coming through there.
Yeah.
Right? What would you tell the youth in New York City or even in the tri-state area, anywhere else that they're going to see this clip at? What would you tell them about when you... Because jail's one of the places it's very easy to go to. It's very hard to get out.
Oh, big time.
Right? So
Big
what would
time.
you tell them about that environment? Because what I see a lot of is a lot of glamorization and romanticization of incarceration, right? We got friends that did county time, state time, fed time, and the state CEOs, that's a whole different ball game that we're going to talk about in a second, right? Different ball game.
Different ball
But it's just like, you know, people don't understand. In the city, you got CEOs that look like you got people like you that actually care, that'll give them some game, right? But the further up you go, once you get past like Dutchess County,
Yeah.
the likelihood that you're going to have a black or Spanish CEO, if you in the state,
Very
is remote, is like minimal, right? Because the whole town, they all grew up in the same, like the whole family working in a jail. Like I visited people at
yeah.
a bunch of spots. Like the first one that pops in my mind that I visited somebody at was Kasaki. And as soon as you turn off the joint, you got Green and Kaksaki next to each other. You got like a Walmart, maybe a McDonald's, and like a town square. And the town center is like the library, post office, court, all in one building.
Yep.
But every CO that you see is white, and every inmate you see, most of them, not every, most of them are from somewhere in or around the city, and they're black or brown, right? So what can you say to our youth to let them know that, yo, Rikers, any jail, that's not where you want to be?
I mean, I'm never gonna pump incarceration to anyone. It shouldn't be glorified. I mean, the music, the media, they make that their business. They're making money off it. You know, you're not making no money off of being incarcerated. They're making money on you. You know, all you're doing is spending money. Your family's spending money. You know, you're paying for lawyers and everything else. You know, after a while, it gets old, it gets played out, and it's not gonna really be something you want to glorify later on to your family. It should be something that you went through, that you want to learn from. So to the youth out there, man, you could be anything you want to be. Just put your mind to it and be around the right circles. You got to be around the right people. You know when you're not around the right people because nothing good comes out of it. So, you know, everybody has a decision to make. Everybody makes choices every day. So you have to make that choice for yourself. You know, for us, we probably made a couple of choices that was the right choices. But, you know, the youth coming up nowadays, stay off that social media. Stop thinking that's cool, watching, you know, these rappers and talk about this and that. And half them probably ain't even lived that type of life.
I had the house, I had the phone.
So, you know, just pay attention to what you... And most of those guys, and I say it, most of those guys are very talented, man. Super talented. I'm talking about they know how to write. They know long division. They know how to do a lot of different things, man. Carpentry. I done seen a lot of things from these guys. And I'm just like, wow, why don't you pursue that talent, you know? So definitely shout out to the youth. For real, it's hard out here. It's different deterrents that's definitely put in place societal-wise. But you gotta look past that. You know, the street ain't it.
And it's coming from somebody that actually seen
Street ain't it.
some of your favorite people
Street ain't it.
in his units and can tell you definitively what it is.
Street ain't it, man.
What it is in terms of, see, he's saying it, right? That shit is not it, right? And
It's not it.
you know, the sidewalks are great. Streets ain't for everybody. That's why they made sidewalks, right? Like, it's nothing cool. It's nothing cool about that, man.
Nice.
Now that's a lot of good information, man. So, what ultimately led you to say, you know, this Rikers shit is cool, but I'm off this?
Basically, I had an opportunity and I took it, and that's just it. Sometimes, you know, lifetime comes, you know, you have an opportunity to maximize your potential, and opportunity calls, and you have to just get on it. Can't hesitate. You can't put it off. You never know if you're gonna get another shot. You know, like M said, shout out to Eminem, but you know, you have to definitely jump on your opportunities at times, you know, and I definitely did that, and it paid off.
Nice.
You know, shout out to everybody that had something to do with that, you know, and shout out to myself. You know, sometimes we don't give ourselves credit. We don't we look down on ourselves. You know, we're not looking at everything that we had to go through and the obstacles and et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, to each his own, I always say, focus on your energy and stay in your lane, and you good. And God has blessed me with that, you know.
Yeah, that's what's up. So, I don't know if you saw it, but the dude Kai Cenat posted this shit on the gram and TikTok. He was like, yo, I hate when I meet somebody they say they from New York, and I'm like, from like where you from? And he say
I knew
Albany,
this
and
was
you like
coming.
Albany or Rochester or Binghamton or
I
something
knew
else
this
like
was
that, right?
coming.
So you from Yonkers, right?
That's a fact.
What's your thoughts on the whole age long? I don't want to call it a battle, right? But the positioning of upstate, downstate, New York, Yonkers, the city. What's your thoughts on all of that? As somebody that is from Yonkers, been around this, you know, mad Brooklyn dudes, you know, mad New York City dudes. But you, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's your thoughts? I think what people historically have had a problem with is when somebody is say, "Yo, I'm from Brooklyn," and then you say, "Oh, I'm from there too." And, oh, where? Oh, actually, my mom was born there, right? That'd be the type of shit that. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that? Because as somebody that's from Brooklyn, before going to Albany, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I thought anything above the Bronx, I thought at one point I thought Albany was on the border of Montreal.
Jesus.
I just didn't have
Yeah.
like the right perspective. And then I worked
You
for
ain't
the
have a
government.
map.
I worked for the government. I saw the map. I'm like, wait, where's he at today? The North Country. Where the fuck is that?
Oh, country.
Essex County, St. Lawrence
What?
County
What's going
is
on?
62 counties in the state.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Big
shit,
time.
right?
Big time.
Outside of the five boroughs and
Mm-hmm.
Westchester and Dutchess County and Rockland,
Mm-hmm.
you still got 40 plus 50 plus counties,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's different demographics: the Southern Tier, Western New York, there's mad different demographics, different politics, all that kind of stuff. But with all that said,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I've seen people from New Rochelle, from different surrounding areas, be like, "Yo, I'm only 10 minutes from the Bronx." But I've never heard that from anybody from Yonkers. I've had people from Yonkers say, "Yo, listen, if you go right up Riverdale Ave, you're in the Bronx." Like, but I've never heard y'all say we just like y'all never. At least not the people I know from Yonkers, and not even Jadakiss Styles and none of them either. Y'all never tried to claim New York.
Nah, Yonkers is a lost borough. I'm gonna say it just like that, you know.
Shout out to Lawsboro Ice Cream. That's the homie out there. She ice cream
Yeah.
shop in Yonkers.
We the lost borough. Shout out to 914 big time. You know, I'm from Riverdale. Shout out to Riverdale. Shout out to all the other neighborhoods out there. But I think that conversation amongst the city started that whole conversation. I'm just gonna put it
We
out there
probably
like that.
did. We probably
I'm gonna
did.
say just like that. The city started that whole conversation. And with respect to everything, you're right. I I was born in Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn, but I'm raised in Yonkers. So I'm gonna claim Yonkers. That's me, 100%. And they ain't never gonna change. You know, you gotta
Shout
have
out to
that
Getty
pride.
Square. Shout out to Getty Square.
You gotta have that pride. You know, love is love. You know what I'm saying? And New York is New York to me. We New Yorkers. I could say me and you, we New Yorkers, but you have to understand a lot of people never left the city that they even was born in. So it took for me to work for the state on a map on terms of planning to say, wow, this is where we at. So you got Long Island, okay, then you got the surrounding boroughs. Yonkers is maybe, if with not traffic, minutes away, maybe an hour away with traffic, because that Brooklyn traffic is horrible.
Yeah, you had mad traffic today. Yeah.
But, you know, we're not too far. And upstate, to me, I feel like is on the 87. So technically, traveling from Brooklyn, yeah, you're going north. But Yonkers is its own borough. You know, I say just like that. We the third biggest city in the state. You got New York City, Buffalo City, I believe, and then Yonkers. So our population is tremendous. You know, we've been our own. We have a lot of the influences or whatever the case that may have been, but you know, for the most part, we had a lot of commonality as well over the years. You know, with Kiss and SP and the Locks coming up, and the correlation with Big and everything else, and Harlem right there. You know, we all listen to the same music at the end of the day, and we kind of all dress the same. I know they were calling Air Force One Harlems.
Harlem's, yeah. Which we didn't because
And,
Brooklyn was just Uptowns or Air Force
yeah,
Ones.
so you know, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie to you. My mom used to take the train with me, and she used to say, "Hey, we got cousins in Brooklyn, so we on the train getting off at Chambers and everything else back in the day." And I'm like, "What's this? What's that?" And we end up in the VIM. VIM
Yeah.
got the sneakers on a wire hooked to the pole, so you couldn't take the sneakers. You know,
Remember that.
I ain't never see that.
Remember that.
You know, but I definitely knew that in Yonkers. Shout out to the Getty Square again too. We had like New Main sneaker shop. We had multiple sneaker outlets where we can negotiate price.
That was downtown.
That was
Brooklyn,
old
too.
school. That was
Yeah.
old school, and that was beautiful. So I never. To me, I'm a New Yorker. I've been everywhere in New York, but I'm a Jack. Definitely Jack my Yonkers. I got that's my swag. But love is love. Do show you love from out of town, you show them love back, and that's just what it is. You know how it is in New York. We got this whole pride thing.
Yeah.
Cause you definitely a Met fan.
Hard body. I'm a hard body Mets fan. Hard body.
Y'all won today, but definitely tomorrow we might definitely take that. Hopefully.
So here's the thing, right? With this whole, so I'm a baseball guy through and through.
You're a
Like I grew
baseball
up playing
guy.
baseball.
You're a baseball guy.
I played baseball first, then I switched to basketball because I wanted to move in. And where I moved to, there was no baseball stadium, right? But I grew up playing in Starrett City. If you know Starrett City, you know Starrett City, right? But I'm really a baseball guy. Like my son played baseball, I coach his team. Like, and my son, right now he could walk in here and he could tell you the whole Mets starting lineup, their batting stance, their walk-up songs.
That's what's up.
He's like a walking baseball encyclopedia. I ain't teaching that shit. He just got it in him. Pause,
That's what's
right?
up.
But with the baseball shit, sometimes what drives me crazy is that there's Yankee fans that can't even name nobody on the team. I had to do a week ago tell me that what's his name? Anthony Rizzo is still on the team. I'm like, no, your first baseman is Paul Goldschmidt. Right? Like, it's one thing if you at least know your team
You're a fan
and you have your
versus-
Yankee shit, I could jack this. Some of these dudes, I post a picture with my kid, which was now, I don't post that much with my kid. I post my kid, we at the game, caught a ball. Oh, Mets suck. I'm like, yo, respectfully, I would throw a Frank at you, my nigga. Like, who does that?
Oh,
right?
nah.
Like, and
Oh,
and
nah.
then, so I'll say, like, yo, when last time you been to the game? Oh, I don't need to go to the game. I don't like, wait, so you just on my page hating. You dick eating. Like, why you hating, son? Like, and I'm really a baseball nigga. I don't see you at the football game. I don't see you at the basketball game. I don't, like, it's one thing if you're a Yankee fan and you jack your shit. You ain't necessarily gotta go, but at least know your team. These niggas just be dicky and just hating on the Mets just to hate on the Mets. Nigga text me yesterday, yo, we booed Soto. I'm like, do you think that nigga even cared that niggas in the bleachers
booed
turn they back? He don't. They asked him that. He was like, I didn't realize. Nigga getting $700 million. He don't know you exist,
Yo.
Ramon. He don't know you exist, Ramon.
Yo, I think I hit you up.
You did.
You know where I was? I definitely was.
You was at Citi Field or you was at Yankee Stadium?
No, I was on the West Coast.
You was OT.
I was on the West Coast, and definitely supporting my sister. Shout out to my sister. She just had a baby.
Congrats.
The Mets was in town.
That's
They're
what
playing
it
the
was.
D-backs.
That's what it was.
And I'm like, yo, these tickets is cheap. I'm like, what? $30?
He was on the field damn near.
I said, on the field damn near. So I'm like, wow, they don't care about this out here. So you know what? I went. It was a New York thing. It was the Mets. They were playing the Mets. And I hit you up immediately. I was like, yo, they booing Soto out here. They booing.
Niggas be dicky and like that be the thing. If like the Nationals don't even boo Soto.
They was booing Soto. And to respect for everything, Soto killed him the next game.
Yeah, he killed him.
So I was like, yo, I took a picture of it. I think I sent it to you.
You did send it to me on the gram, yeah.
And I was like, yo, I'm on the West Coast right now. And I was just like, wow, these people are die hard, I go everywhere. I go everywhere and just I like to see the energy. You know, I like to see the energy. To embrace it. Shout out to my brother. He definitely works for the Padres.
So the Padres got a
And
good reason to hate Soto because Manny Machado and him didn't get along. So I can understand
yeah,
them not jacking him.
word.
But so what I encourage you to do too is when I travel, anywhere I travel to, if it's the summer, I'll go to the local park and I'll
Yeah,
go see the
definitely.
game. Like I was going to a cruise
I see that.
last month. I was in Miami.
Yeah.
And it was like the Marlins playing fuck was they playing? The Diamondbacks, funny enough.
Diamondbacks, yeah.
And tickets was like $10. It was wild cheap. And I was damn near like on the field and it was a good time, good stadium.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things when you travel and you go to the park, to
Yeah.
your same point, the energy is always great.
Different.
And a lot of the players, when you leave New York, they mad social. Like even with the minor league teams, like last night I went to a Cyclones game at Coney Island.
Yeah, you still do that.
And I went to my
Interesting.
like it was my first one yesterday actually, but it was my little league team's fundraiser. So if you buy tickets, part of the bread go to the little league.
Yeah.
So we sitting there watching the game, and towards the end they was playing the minor league team for the White Sox. So I'm sitting on their side, and I'm like, "Hey yo, 29, throw me one." And he heard me. He looked. I was like, "Yo, throw me one." He's like,
Oh, you.
he tossed it, and
Yeah.
I caught it. Boom, and gave it to my son, and he was just like, he was mad hype, and mad little kid trying to come over. Yo, I can see it. Like, nah, scram, beat it. Like, but him seeing me do that, and I caught it in front of my wife, my daughter, my son,
Yeah.
the other coaches, they kids. So now when I'm coaching and I'm telling them, you see what I did, everything I'm telling you to do, it's because I can really do that shit in real life, and
Yeah.
y'all see me do it.
Yeah.
Right? But nah, I definitely encourage you. Baseball's the shit.
Yeah.
Get into it. A lot of black folks don't go to the game. So it's usually just me and my family and maybe like a handful of other black families. But I always make it a point to scream out to the players. I've done this at the National Stadium too. I was like, yo, Yapes, throw me one.
Yeah, but
And he just tossed it. Boom. And I caught it. He was like, right? It's very interactive. Basketball, you don't get that interaction. Football,
Yeah.
you don't get that. Hockey, you don't get that. Soccer, you don't get that. Baseball is probably the most interactive, most fan-friendly sport.
Yeah.
And I tailgate and all that. So at some point in the summer, you want to pull up, we could definitely do that.
Definitely.
You're always welcome at City Field. We beat y'all today.
Yeah.
If y'all do what y'all did today, we gonna beat y'all tomorrow because Diaz struck your man Aaron out.
I didn't get to see the game. I tell you what though, I got into baseball because I never played baseball. I never did. I was a football guy, did basketball for a little bit, stopped in high school, but my son is definitely tearing up the field upstate. Like I'm gonna just shout him out. You know, he is definitely impressing me because I don't know where he learned it. Maybe he's just the athlete in him, but baseball's his thing every year. He'll try other sports out, but he's really good at it. So I like to, I like to encourage.
Right.
I like to do my research, and I like the energy that you put into it because I try to know something. I try to know more of something. So now when I'm at the game, I can, really channel in. And I've done that. He's been playing baseball now for about I say about 8 years.
That's fire.
And that went by quick.
Yeah, the time flies.
And I'm all for the positivity, and everybody else, that's good into whatever they into, that yay for them. But baseball, it has its funny moments. I will say that, it's bonding moments.
Absolutely.
You'll find your best friend at a baseball field. It's all love.
That's the thing. Going to the games. I know the people that sit in front of me. Son in front of me used to do all the HVAC for all the McDonald's on the East Coast. Son right there is a hedge fund guy. Son right here, his son worked for the Mets. Son right there is a personal injury lawyer. Son right, like, because they see me going there, and they sized me up because I'm a black guy at a baseball game, but then I start making plays and shit. Like I done dove over chairs and all that. Wailing. I should be doing that shit though. But
You done dove over to
wailing. I was wailing. Like it was one time Pete Alonso lobbed the ball up and I'm like, I'm getting that shit. And I went for it. For a second I forgot. I was like two, 3 beers in. I'm like, I left my feet like I'm Ken Griffey. I caught this shit, but I fell over the chair and then I stood up and held the ball up. It was like, yeah. And then I went and sat down. I was with my daughter. She's like, Daddy, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then I went to like turn for a second. This old Italian mom was like, Hun, that was a great play, but that's gonna hurt tomorrow. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I went to the lounge to like, link wifey and all that. It's like, yo, look at your fucking arm. My whole arm had like the indentation of a seat. It was like a shape like a question mark in black and purple going down my arm.
Jesus Christ.
But I give my body for this game, man.
Yeah.
Football, like, listen, football, shout out to the Rifles and all the football teams and all that. I tried football. I went to a summer practice or like a summer tryout, whatever. 9 o'clock in the morning.
What,
the
Hell
older
Week?
Niggas, like, I don't went on the wrong day. But 9 o'clock in the morning, I went there.
Day.
Some old niggas, like the older niggas up, like, we was like Pee-wee. Next niggas up was like, yo, just run now. So when coach come, you ain't got to run. So we running crazy, bear crawling, those types of dumb shit. I'm gassed. And the coach comes, yo, y'all got to run. He was like, yo, we ran already. And the nigga was like, yo, coach, they ain't run. So I'm like, yo, I'm out of here. This the games y'all playing? I'm out of here.
Nah. Football definitely. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. Football is a very intricate sport. These guys are probably one of the most, I should say, best people when it comes to multitasking. There's a lot that goes on into a football play by itself. You got a lot, 11 people, basically working to achieve a common goal at the same time in different motions. So the playbook, and they give you a playbook and they're like, yo, listen, you got to study this. So every day you practicing different things, and then it gets more and more complicating as you get into high school, as you get into college, and the pros definitely, they got to learn that before the season start. They got to know all of that stuff. So I definitely respect all the sports. Even basketball has its own little
Yeah, you got set plays and shit.
yeah, they got their own thing. I never got too deep into it. I stopped playing in 10th grade, but you gotta really, really, really have a passion for whatever you into. So I tell my son that all the time. Have a passion for something that you really into. Try something, see if you like it. If not, just finish it out. Don't quit. And to each its own. Sports probably got me here because it kept me out the streets. I'm not gonna lie to you. It kept me out a lot of that crap that was going on. It gave me something to focus on. So shout out to any kid out there that's playing sports. Shout out to any passionate father that dives over and hurts their arm, at a baseball game. It shows a kid passion. It shows you passion. It shows family bond time. I got into a lot of different sports, honestly. So, I definitely shout out to the horse racing that happens. We definitely got that in Yonkers too.
Yeah, I do have that. I haven't been.
Shout out to the raceway.
Yeah.
But definitely whatever you into, just be into and not feel bad about it unapologetically.
Nah. So as we wrap up, a couple of last minute questions, lighting around, Mobile or Albany as your more preferred school.
Albany with no doubt. Danes till we die. But you have to respect where you come from too. So shout out to Mobile again. That's where I started off at. But it's UA, ain't no way but to the UA. And shout out to all the professionals that came out of there, to the alum. We doing big things out here. And we need to definitely focus on making sure the next generation gets to some type of professionalism, wherever they want to go to trade, into the corporate world, to the law enforcement, wherever they want to go, you know, put your mind on that and don't take it off. You know, put your mind to it and just keep it moving, you know. Don't look back. That's my thing. Don't look back and everything will work itself out, you know. And whatever God you pray to, you know, definitely have some type of guidance in your life. So to respect for everything else, man, I appreciate you. Definitely. It was good seeing you.
Likewise, you got any side businesses you want to promote? Any companies,
Ventures.
peoples, any ventures that you wanna plug?
Shout out to everything that I support handsomely. Shout out to Juice for Life. I'm a big time juicer. Shout out to them. I'm there like every other day. So shout out to the drone business. I know a couple of people that's in the drone business. And shout out to anything that anybody's into that is what they want to do, entrepreneur wise. You know, I don't want to leave nobody out. There's so many people that I know. But definitely shout out to everything else. Shout out to the podcast. You know, it's an outlet that people definitely need to hear out and see. You know, and I pay attention to everything else just like everybody else do. So don't think that nobody's paying attention to you. They just paying attention to you. They just probably not saying nothing, or they probably not posting, or saying they crazy comments. You know, especially the Met fans.
Shout out to the Mets fans, man.
Shout out to the Brooklyn fans. Shout out to everybody else that played a major part in all my come up and, you know, everything New York. You know, New York's where it's at. Shout out to the Knicks right now. We're gonna do big things. You know, we're gonna bring that chip home. Hopefully, yeah. That's what we aiming at. That's the big project. That's New York's biggest project right now.
Now we got that. You know, my parting words, again, appreciate you pulling up on me. All of y'all weird sports fans, like, if you from New York and you root for a New York team, I got no problem with you. I don't care if you don't root for the Mets. I don't care if you don't root for the Jets. I'm not mad at that. It be you niggas that's from New York that root for Indiana. That's why boy got hit with a garbage can.
Oh my God, I seen that.
Like, yo,
what's he doing?
I don't know what he doing.
And he
but
walked around like it was nothing.
He thought it was sweet with a Halliburton jersey on. I think sometimes y'all want attention. But my thing is this. If this is the moment for the city, patch in. Like, all of this, I'm going to be a contrarian and I'm going to root for the Celtics.
We're not with it.
If your mama ain't raised you in Boston, why are you rooting for the Celtics? That's one of the most racist cities on God's green earth. They don't like New Yorkers.
Ever.
So why y'all rooting for them? And Indiana, if you from New York and you root for Indiana, you special kind of weird because
definitely weird.
Reggie Miller is my first op. The first op I had wasn't Giancarlo on the playground. It was Reggie Miller. Because I remember the NBA on NBC game that Sunday when he did that shit.
In 8 seconds.
In 8 seconds. That's my first op, Reggie Miller. I thought to myself, any ugly light-skinned niggas that could play basketball is my enemy because of Reggie Miller.
I hate shooters. He was one of them reasons. Ewing hates him too. But definitely the Knicks.
Ewing did fuck up that fucking like this. bro, backboard or just like all net.
God,
nigga did some bum ass. Anyway.
Yo, we here now.
That just took me back to, but we here now, man. We here now. So if you from New York and you don't jack a New York team and the New York team's having a moment, like if right now it was the World Series and the Mets aren't in it and the Yankees are, I'm not gonna say fuck the Yankees. I'm gonna say, yo, bring that shit home.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah.
So if it ain't your team and you live in New York, it's okay to sit on the side. But all the weird dick eating and being a contrarian, like, oh, I'm going for Indiana. Why, bro? If you're not from there, and if you are from there and live in New York, you might get hit with a garbage can.
Be careful.
Yeah, man. Don't get packed up, man. We out of here.
Packed up.
Over and out, man.